views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, I am so thrilled to have actress and comedienne Vicki Lawrence and the CIU and U program conversation today. Today, we're going to look at what exactly is CIU, chronic idiopathic urticaria. She's joining me here today to get the word out. But more importantly, Vicki has been involved in so many kinds of programs to help youth and others. You know, she was an honorary head of DARE program in Long Beach, California for 2 years, where her kids were still young and in school. Her journey to television began during her senior year of high school when she sent Carol Burnett a letter which included a local newspaper article mentioning their resemblance. Vicki invited Miss Burnett to the local fire department's Miss Fireball contest in which she was performing. Miss Burnett, looking for an actress to play her kid's sister on her new variety series, contacted Vicki and made arrangements to come to the event. Well, guess what? The rest is history. The Carol Burnett Show premiered in the fall of 1967. The same year, Vicki entered UCLA to study theater. But we know this dynamic duo, Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence, the love they shared with each other, how they came across on TV, and much more than that, how they got into all of our hearts. Today, Vicki is joining us to talk about something she's extraordinarily passionate about, and that is CIU. You all have heard me share my healing story. And you know, I had a mentor once say to me, you cannot take people to a place you haven't gone before. And then I got sick. The point is this. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to take a message out into the world? Are we going to shine a new light of awareness on it like a 5,000-watt bulb? Or are we just going to hang with it? Vicki, thank you for joining me here today. It's great to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
You know, many of us know you and know you actually pretty well. If we go back to the days of Carol Burnett and otherwise, hilarious is an understatement.
Oh, thank you.
Understatement. You know, I don't even want to get into how hilarious. But now, you know, here we are talking about something very, very important. And you are out and about sharing your personal story and shining a light. Let's talk a little bit about what CIU is and then what your journey has been like.
Okay. CIU is a little known chronic condition. It's chronic hives, basically. It's,
Yep.
Chronic idiopathic urticaria. It's a big mouthful, and I don't think very many people know about it. Chronic means that it has lasted for 6 or more weeks. Idiopathic means your doctor can't tell you why it's happening. And urticaria is a fancy doctor word for hive. I have the condition. Me and 1.5 million other people in this country come to find out.
Yep.
I was diagnosed about 7 years ago when I broke out in hives, and my allergist said, almost everybody breaks out in hives at some point in their lives, and we'll get it under control, and you'll never think about it again, no worries. And we spent 6 weeks doing everything that a doctor would do for you for an allergic reaction. None of it worked, at which point he said, I believe you have CIU. And I went home and like everybody got on the web looking for what in the heck is going on because I'd never heard of such a thing. And there was no good information. There were a lot of people asking questions, a lot of frustrated chat rooms, but there was no good information. So I was fortunate that my allergist was familiar with the condition, and we were able to get my hives under control. So when I had an opportunity to join this program, CIU and U, a couple of years ago, I said, yes, I will throw my face up on that website and be the poster child for hives and put my story on there and try to help get the word out.
Yeah. And, I love that.
For people that are looking,
Yeah. I love that about you because, part of this is like what I said before. I mean, sometimes it's hard for us to show up in the public and say, yeah, I got this or yeah, I got that. And I want to ask you this question. Do you believe that in your case, you had a great doctor, right, who figured it out? But don't you think there are so many other doctors that not only don't know? So what is your take on how many misdiagnosed or undiagnosed people there might be?
Well, I think undiagnosed. I think I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of CIU patients now, and a lot of them have been looking literally for years for answers. And no, there are a lot of doctors that do not know about the condition. And one of the things the website will recommend is that you find an allergist or a dermatologist that's familiar with the condition. And I would say just call the doctors in your hood and ask if they know about CIU. And if they don't, go on to the next number. And the website will also encourage you to, we have downloadable materials on there that will encourage you to track your hives and keep a diary because, the chronic hives, they'll come and they'll go.
Right.
And it's going to be 6 weeks before you can get a diagnosis of CIU. So keep a diary and take lots of pictures so that when you do get to the doctor, it's like when you take your car to the mechanic, as sure as you go, that'll be the day it's not making that noise. Right. So if you show up at the doctor and you don't have the hives that day, you can say, hey, but no, here's a picture from yesterday. And here's my diary. Here's what happened last week. So that you can get to that diagnosis sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I want to ask you this question because part of this too, and I know you've talked to a lot of people, part of this might be that, listen, we get rashes, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but, we go through the change. People say, oh, you're just aging. You got a rash. Everybody gets a rash when they're aging. But that may not be the case. And that's certainly, like a crazy story to hear. But the point is that there are symptoms. What do you think are some of the unpredictable aspects of this?
Well, I think the thing is, first of all, they'll come and they'll go. They can come out of nowhere. This happened to me when it was like 7 years ago. So what was I, 60 years old? Generally, it happens to women that are much younger than me. It happens more often to women than it does men, although there are a lot of men who are affected as well. The toughest thing about it, I think, is that you really want to blame yourself. You want to, I had everybody in my life trying to help me. My daughter saying, you need to go on an elimination diet, Mom, or you need to go see a holistic nutritionist, or you've changed something. What new detergent are you using? What new cosmetic are you using? Or one of my friends said, stop drinking red wine. It's the tannins in all the red wine that are doing it. At the very least, Vicki, you have to switch to the French wine. They don't do the tannins like we do. And I'm just like, oh, my God, somebody get me a glass of wine. It's the only thing that's getting me through this. It was, everybody wants to help you, and you really want to blame yourself because you're sure you've done something wrong. And it's not, for those of us who have chronic hives, it's not us. It's nothing we have done. It just comes and goes as it pleases. I've been under control for like 4 years now, but that's not to say it couldn't come back because it is. Yeah. It's treatable. It's not curable.
Yeah.
And I think the nice thing about the website is it's just chock full of good information for people who have been searching and haven't been able to find any answers or any direction. It's just a reminder that You're not alone. You haven't lost your marbles. It's a real thing. It's supported by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. It's made possible by Genentech and Novartis. It's a beautiful website. I am proud to be part of it. And I hope it's leading people in the right directions. And I'll tell you, Dr. Pat, there have been many interviews I've done where the stage manager has thrown their headset off and said, oh, my God, got to go call my mom.
Exactly.
This is her, or got to go call my sister. This is her.
Exactly.
I just did an interview this morning. The guy said, I think I got to call my mom right away because she's been dealing with this for years and hasn't been able to figure it out.
Yeah, because that's what happened to me when Linda scheduled this. And I looked, and Linda said to me, oh, my God, Pat, this is what you had. And I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me. And, our friends at the, I got to tell you, the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, we've been working with them as well. They are just outrageously great. But here's my question for you. Can age groups, tell me, are older people, more likely, or does it just age has no bearing?
No. Usually it's younger women than me, like 30s, 40s. I'm an overachiever. I'm doing this way too late in life.
I got to tell you, me
generally,
too.
I'm not generally it. And it is generally women. I think it's like 20 to 40 is the target range. Mm-hmm. And then, a lot of men have problems too, but more often women. Of course, I maintain we women get to do all the fun stuff more often than men do. Yeah. But
yeah. I mean, this is, and then we get to be Wonder Woman now for Halloween. So I'm all in. But there's a great infographic on the site. With your permission, we'd like to post and link it back to you. 1.5 million is I mean, we're not just talking chump change here. This is a lot of people. And you're right. It's 20 to 40.
Right.
How can we help people? How can we help women say, wait a minute, you're not losing your mind? Because that's the first place we go. Oh, my God, it's stress. You're breaking out because you got stress.
Exactly right. I said to my doctor when I broke out, I said, I'm not stressed. My thought was hives are your mother-in-law's nervous breakdown. When you tell her that you're marrying her son and she goes, oh, my God, and she breaks out in hives. Right. It's like that middle-aged nervous breakdown. I'm like, this is not me.
Yeah.
But yes, indeed, it is me.
Yeah. This is really the good news that, if it is good news, the good news is that you got an answer to help you solve a problem. Can you talk a little bit about what the effects are? And I'm not talking the side effects because I'm sure there are some, but what are the effects on an individual personally in terms of their esteem? You know what I mean? The emotional effects, rather.
Well, I can't speak for everybody else out there. To me, it was so incredibly itchy.
Yeah.
And I was so frustrated that we weren't getting anywhere, that I wasn't getting any answers. But as I said, and I will remind people, it's going to take you and your doctor 6 weeks before he's going to give you that diagnosis. He's going to try everything else for an allergic reaction first before he says to you, I believe this is CIU. So you really want to find that doc. If you think this is you and you've been itching on and off and having breakouts and problems for a while, and you think this is you really want to find the dermatologist or the allergist that's familiar with the condition so that you can get those hives under control. As I said, it's treatable, not curable.
What was it that brought you to the forefront to become the spokesperson? What would you like to see happen?
I just want that acronym to get out there.
Yeah.
I want people to know what CIU is. And I want them to be able to say, oh, you know what? I saw Vicki talking about this, and this might be you, and let's get on the web. And the nice thing is now when you Google chronic hives or CIU, we pop right up. So there is a ton of information there for people that will help guide them in the right direction to getting a diagnosis.
And let's just kind of loop back around if we could. You know, there are treatments for it, and very specific treatments that doctors can educate themselves if they don't know, or can send people to a doctor that does know.
To a friend of theirs that maybe is familiar with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would you think is the least known fact about this that really causes confusion for women?
That they just don't even know it exists, Pat.
Yeah.
They didn't even know there is a thing called CIU. I never associated, I had never heard of it. And when I broke out in hives, I just automatically assumed it was an allergic reaction to something. I mean, I've talked to women who stopped going to the gym or stopped horseback riding, or so one woman moved out of her house because she was sure it was something in the house. It's just not, I just want it to be out there so that people think that, oh, maybe this is what it is. You know, and you can track the hives and take pictures and get to the doctor and be proactive about trying to get yourself some help and get a diagnosis. Mm. I just want the word out there that it's a real thing.
Question for you, because this happens to many, many of us women. We talk to our friends, we talk to our family. You know, how can we speak to people that are experiencing this and give them some guidance and direction, you know, to use for family members? Because the number one thing my friend experienced, and maybe you didn't, was that it was contagious. It was this idea that, oh my gosh, what do you have? I mean, that's a whole conversation in itself. So education, you know, is one thing we can do to say, wait a minute, this is what I have. Did you find that, or were probably your friends and family were a little bit more open, but most of us, friends and family, not so much?
Well, yeah, maybe not, but then maybe they all can get on the website and listen to my story, and then they would commiserate with their friend and say, oh, maybe this is you, you know? So, I mean, my whole story is on that website. You can listen to it and see if any of it rings a bell.
I love it. You know, I know that you have a really short time with us. Is there a particular type of doctor that you would recommend people go to? Is it an allergist?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an allergist or a dermatologist. Both of either of those should. You want to find one that is familiar with CIU, but either one of those can treat it. And
Good. All
help
right.
you get your life back together.
Well, let's do the website real quick. What's the best way for people to find out more about this? I have CIU
it's CIU and U. It's all spelled out. CIUandYou.com.
Awesome. One last question, if you don't mind. What's your personal message, Vicki? What would you like to leave our listeners with today?
Oh, well, I guess keep laughing. You know, because the alternative life, you know what my motto is, Dr. Pat? Yeah. Life is much too serious to be taken seriously.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I totally.
You must keep laughing.
Yeah, honestly, you know, I learned how to laugh my way to wellness, and I'm glad you're doing that. Thank you, Vicki. Hey, everybody, Vicki Lawrence.
Thank you so much.
You bet. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.